Welcome back to the deep dive. Our mission here, as always, is to take these, big careers, concepts, crises, things that shape our world, and really break them down, get to the essentials.
It's those nuggets of knowledge.
Exactly. And today, we're tackling a huge figure. I mean, an actor whose face, whose voice, you just know him. 5 decades of truly iconic stuff.
Oh, yeah. From those gritty New York sitcoms we all remember.
Right, to massive sci-fi blockbusters, award-winning dramas, we are diving deep into the career of Judd Seymour Hirsch, a real multi-platform master.
And it's fascinating because his career, it runs from, 1959 right up to today. That's almost 7 decades of staying relevant, staying excellent.
It's incredible.
And you realize pretty quick, this isn't just about talent, though obviously there's immense talent. But it's a masterclass in strategy.
Professional strategy, yeah. And versatility, endurance, too.
Absolutely. So we're not just going to, read off a resume here. We're digging into the how, the strategy behind it all.
And our sources, they really frame this perfectly. The Los Angeles Times, they kind of nailed it, saying he's one of those rare actors who just slips effortlessly,
Effortlessly, yeah. That's the word they use.
From TV series to Broadway, then to feature films and back again. And he's racking up awards, great reviews, like everywhere he goes.
Right.
So that idea, that effortless versatility, well, that's the challenge, isn't it? How do you actually do that? How do you move between these worlds that can be pretty unwelcoming to outsiders?
That's the core question.
Yeah.
And for you listening in, this deep dive, it's really about understanding how that kind of career longevity gets built. It's often on a foundation that's, well, surprising.
Definitely surprising in this case.
Yeah. We're going to look past just the famous roles, Alex Rieger, Dr. Berger, and look at the early choices, specifically this kind of shocking educational path he took. Because that background, we think, is what really equipped him to handle such different material, demanding totally different things, emotionally, structurally, and to keep doing it at peak level into his 80s and 90s. It's remarkable.
Okay, let's unpack this starting point, because it really does feel like the X factor, maybe, in his whole professional approach. Judd Seymour Hirsch, born March 15th, 1935, New York City.
The Bronx, specifically.
Right, the Bronx. Grew up between the Bronx and Brooklyn, those kind of working class environments. We know his family background: father, Joseph Sidney Hirsch, an electrician, German Jewish ancestry. Mother, Sally Kitses, Russian Jewish ancestry. He's got a brother, Roland.
Yeah, pretty classic New York story for someone who ends up on stage. It seems straightforward.
Exactly. It seems like a straight path to acting. But then you look at his education, and the whole trajectory just takes this sharp turn.
It's a complete detour from the expected narrative, yeah. He graduates DeWitt Clinton High School, 1952.
Yeah.
And then instead of, diving straight into acting school.
What'd you'd expect?
Right. He commits fully to science, hard science. He gets a Bachelor of Science degree in physics from City College of New York.
Physics.
Physics. And that, I think, is just crucial. It's a defining fact that shapes everything that follows.
A BS in physics. I mean,
yeah.
Wow. We're talking about an actor who later plays these really convincing academic father figures, right? Alan Epps in Number Threes, Alfred Hofstadter in Big Bang Theory. But he wasn't just researching those parts. He actually lived in that intellectual world first. And it wasn't just theory either, was it? He actually worked as an engineer.
He absolutely did. Put it into practice. The timeline here is really important. Before he even starts formal acting studies, he does 6 months in the Army Reserve as a surveyor. 1958, Fort Leonard Wood.
Surveying. Again, precision, detail.
Exactly. Laying groundwork, quite literally. And then he works as an engineer for Westinghouse, a huge industrial company.
Wow. So he's dealing with, stress loads, calculations, efficiency, very concrete, observable systems.
Right. His formative professional years weren't spent emoting on a stage. They were spent focused on verifiable reality, structure, problem solving through logic.
Okay, so that's the bit I'm trying to square. You've got the emotional volatility, the, inherent instability of trying to make it as an actor, especially back then, late 50s, early 60s.
Right.
And then you've got the analytical certainty of an engineering job at Westinghouse. I mean, they're worlds apart. What drove that shift? Did the sources give any hint of, an aha moment?
The sources don't really pinpoint one specific moment, like a sudden revelation. But the outcome, the fact that he did make the switch, suggests maybe a deep dissatisfaction with the purely technical. and a pull towards something else.
There's observing people.
Towards the analytical observation of human behavior, which, when you boil it down, is what great acting is really about. He didn't just chuck his training out the window. No, he repurposed it. He found a new application for that analytical mindset.
Okay, repurposing. I like that. So he commits to acting. He starts his formal training at HB Studio in New York. That's legendary.
Uta Hagen, Meisner techniques. Really rigorous stuff. Deep commitment to emotional truth, but also observation.
And then he graduates in 1962 from the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, another powerhouse.
Right. And this is where that connection point really clicks, I think. What makes his work different?
Oh, so?
Well, acting training, especially the kind he got, it demands intense observation of human systems, right? Motivations, reactions, flaws, defenses, and physics engineering. They demand intense observation of mechanical or natural systems, force, stress, failure points, efficiency.
I see where you're going. The skill set is transferable.
Exactly. Both require intellectual rigor, disciplined preparation, a commitment to understanding structure, whether it's a bridge or a human psyche.
So he doesn't just feel the character's emotion, he builds the character's internal structure, their logic, their operating principles, how they defend themselves.
That feels right. When he plays Alex Rieger, the analytical cabbie, or Dr. Berger, the empathetic psychiatrist, he's not just winging it, humanizing them on the fly. He's presenting this, logically organized system of response.
Which makes the performances feel so grounded, so real.
Precisely. Look at his roles over the next, 5, 6 decades. He very rarely plays someone purely chaotic or, unthinking. There's almost always a cerebral quality, a thoughtful foundation.
Even when he's dealing with aliens in Independence Day?
Even then. He's talking about the cosmos, analyzing the threat, or the internal family dynamics in ordinary people. It's always grounded, structured. The physicist didn't vanish.
He just became the actor's silent partner.
Kind of, yeah. Making sure the performance was built solid, and that discipline, that structured approach, it prepared him perfectly for, arguably, the most demanding platform. The stage.
Right, the stage. It wasn't just a stepping stone for him, was it? Or just a way to pay the bills between TV gigs. You said it was a constant from 1959 right through to today.
Absolutely the bedrock. It's core to his identity as an actor. You really can't talk about Judd Hirsch without talking about New York theater.
Even though many people probably know him best from TV or movies.
For sure. But the sources are clear. He made his mark on Broadway and off-Broadway pretty much right away. Became a critical favorite long before he was a household name.
Got that serious attention quickly, proving that, the intellectual rigor we talked about, it translated directly into stage success.
It really did.
Yeah.
Let's track that early stuff, because it predates the big national fame by a good decade. You've got 1972, 73, he wins an Obie Award. Best performance for the Hot L Baltimore.
An Obie! That's major respect from the off-Broadway world, the really serious theater folks.
Exactly. Signals you're the real deal. And it didn't stop there. Just a few years later, 1976, he lands a Drama Desk Award. Outstanding featured actor in a play for Knock Knock.
Another big New York Theater Award, showing he could handle featured roles, leading roles.
Right. He had range right from the start. By the mid-70s, he wasn't just starting out. He was an established, award-winning, dramatic actor on the New York stage.
It's just fascinating context for when Taxi comes along later. He wasn't some unknown kid they plucked from obscurity.
Not at all. He was a seasoned, disciplined, critically acclaimed stage vet. And that stage work, that discipline, it kept leading to bigger things.
Like more nominations.
Yeah. Drama Desk noms for Chapter 2 in 78, Tally's Folly in 80. And Tally's Folly also got him his first Tony nomination. Best Actor in a Play.
Wow. So he's getting nominated for the top award on Broadway even before Taxi really explodes.
And you got to think about the sheer stamina involved. Doing those roles 8 times a week.
Yeah.
Night after night. That's where that structural integrity, that discipline really gets tested.
Okay, so even while he's becoming this huge TV star, that dedication to the stage just continues. Which brings us to the really big ones. The 2 Tony Award wins. For Best Actor in a Play, that solidifies him as a true stage master.
It really does. The first win comes in 1986. He's starring as Nat in I'm Not Rappaport.
The Herb Gardner play.
That's the one. Celebrated playwright. It's about these 2 elderly guys just trying to survive, keep their dignity on a park bench in New York.
A lot of physical comedy in that one too, right? Mixed with the deeper stuff.
Absolutely. It demanded that balance. And apparently, he didn't just play Nat. He inhabited him. So much so that he actually reprised the role on stage again in 2002.
Wow. Nearly 20 years later.
Almost 2 decades after the original run. That tells you something about his connection to the material and his confidence in revisiting it.
Yeah, that's not just replicating a performance, that's evolving with it. Shows real commitment to theater over just, chasing the next paycheck. What about the second Tony?
That came just 6 years later, 1992. And it was another Herb Gardner play, interestingly, Conversations with My Father.
Another deep one. Oh, yeah. Generational drama, really emotional. Hirsch played the central character, Eddie, winning 2 Best Leading Actor Tonys in different decades. That puts him in very, very rare company.
It elevates him beyond just TV star or movie actor. That's artistry.
It is. True mastery of the craft.
Okay, I have to ask, though, how does someone manage that? The sheer grind of a leading Broadway role, 8 shows a week. Nat and Rappaport sounds exhausting, physically, emotionally.
Right.
How do you juggle that with the completely different rhythm of TV and film? The short bursts, the technical demands of hitting marks, playing to camera.
That's it. That's the central strategic puzzle of his whole career, isn't it? Stage demands absolute consistency, peak performance every single night. TV, especially those multicam sitcoms he was so good at.
Like Taxi.
Yeah. That requires instant timing. Nail the joke, react authentically, but in these short takes, it's a different muscle.
So how did he switch between them so effectively?
Hmm.
I think it goes back to that physics background again, that analytical ability to switch systems. He could break down the technical requirements, stage, projection, pacing, sustaining energy over hours, camera, subtlety, micro-expressions, hitting that timing precisely.
So he wasn't just relying on instinct, he was analyzing the medium.
It seems like it. Most actors are naturally better suited to one system or the other. Hirsch's discipline, maybe that analytical grounding, allowed him to optimize for both, often at the same time.
It makes a lot of sense. The stage was like his lab for analyzing human behavior.
Yeah, maybe. And then he deployed those findings for a mass audience on TV. And that move to television that really picked up steam in the 70s. He was popping up frequently, building that screen presence before the big breakout.
Putting in the work.
Definitely. He did a full season as Sergeant Dominic Delvecchio in Delvecchio. That was 76, 77. And he even snagged an Emmy nomination really early 1977 for a guest spot on Rhoda.
Okay, so he was already getting recognized by the TV industry.
But then came Taxi.
The game changer.
Absolutely. Taxi ran 1978 to 1983. That was the launch pad into genuine nationwide stardom. He played Alex Rieger, 114 episodes.
Alex Rieger, such an iconic character.
And the role just perfectly leveraged that foundation we talked about. Alex was the steady hand, right?
Yeah.
The thoughtful, maybe slightly world-weary one. The intellectual, mature center in this whirlwind of comedic genius.
Yeah, surrounded by Kaufman, DeVito, Christopher Lloyd, all these larger-than-life characters. He was the anchor.
He really was. And the industry absolutely responded to that. The performance, its depth, the awards just poured in.
Nonstop, basically.
Pretty much. He won the Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Comedy Series twice, 1981 and again in 83.
And nominated how many other times?
Nominated 3 other times for that Emmy, 79, 80, 82. So 5 nominations, 2 wins over the 5 main seasons. That's incredible consistency.
Wow. And the Golden Globes recognized him too, right?
Oh, yeah. 5 straight Golden Globe nominations for Best Actor in a TV series, musical, or comedy. Every year from 78 through 82. Nominated basically every single year the show was eligible.
That just shows the level of respect. The industry saw his performance as, like, the gold standard for that kind of role.
It really did. And here's a cool little piece of trivia, speaking of that legacy. You know the movie Man on the Moon about Andy Kaufman?
Yeah, with Jim Carrey.
Right. Hirsch reprised Alex Rieger for a little uncredited cameo in that. Just a nod, acknowledging how important that show, those relationships were to TV history.
That's great. So Taxi ends in 83. He's got an Oscar nomination by then, Tony nominations. You'd think maybe he'd focus purely on film and stage now, but nope, he pivots to Dear John.
Right, and that's where the strategy gets really interesting. Dear John runs from 88 to 92. And here, he's not the ensemble anchor anymore.
No, he's the title character, John Lacey.
Exactly, newly divorced guy leading the support group. And structurally, it was a much more, let's say, traditional multi-camera sitcom than Taxi.
Yeah, Taxi felt more groundbreaking, maybe riskier. So I have to ask, did critics see Dear John as maybe a safer move, or even like a step down after something as iconic as Taxi? How do the sources frame that choice?
That's a fair question. And yeah, some might have seen it that way. But the sources, or how you can interpret the move strategically, suggest it was actually about demonstrating range, showing he could carry a show entirely on his own shoulders.
Not just be the stabilizing force in an ensemble.
Precisely. And, hey, the results kind of validated the choice, didn't they? He won the Golden Globe for Best Actor for Dear John in 1988.
Oh, right, in that weird three-way tie?
Yeah, with Michael J. Fox and Richard Mulligan. Very unusual. And he got nominated again the next year, too. So it proved his star power wasn't just tied to the taxi magic. He could deliver on his own.
Okay, that makes sense strategically. Prove individual drawing power. Fast forward a bit more. He shifts gears again. Completely leaves the sitcom world for number threes.
Number 3, 2005 to 2010. And here's a neat bit of symmetry. Number 3's also ran for. Guess how many episodes?
No way, 114.
Exactly 114 episodes. Same as Taxi. Isn't that wild?
That is wild. And in number 3, he's Alan Epps, the dad.
The dad. Father to an FBI agent and a math professor. So he's back in that wise, supportive patriarch role. But this time, he's bridging the intellectual world of math.
Which connects back to his own background.
Right, and the, emotional chaos of solving crimes. It brings his own science roots right back into the performance in a really direct way.
Full circle. And he kept taking these kinds of long-running supporting roles, didn't he? Showing incredible relevance across different generations of viewers.
Totally. Look at the variety later on.
Yeah.
He does the recurring pop role on the Goldbergs.
Yeah.
That ran forever, 2015 to 2023. Just comfortable, funny, family sitcom stuff.
And then for a totally different audience, 2016, he pops up on The Big Bang Theory as Leonard's dad, Dr. Alfred Hofstadter.
Another scientist. Again, playing that intellectual, maybe slightly emotionally distant father figure, bringing that physics background right into the show's subject matter.
Amazing. But then he pivots again to something much darker.
Well, before the really dark stuff, he did Superior Donuts on CBS, series regular, even a producer on that one. Played Arthur Przybyszewski. That was 34 episodes, 2017-18. More comedy.
Okay. But then Hunters.
Then Hunters, yeah. Amazon Prime Video, 2020 to 2023. And here, he's playing Simon Wiesenthal, the actual historical Nazi hunter.
Wow. Talk about range. Going from Pop Goldberg to Simon Wiesenthal in a prestige drama.
That's the versatility we're talking about. It's definitive proof. It shows he never got stuck, never got comfortable or typecast, always challenging himself, keeping the work fresh.
And he's still doing TV work now.
Yep. Recently appeared with Linda Lavin in a 2025 project called Mid-Century Modern. So what this whole TV segment really shows is how he used the medium strategically. For visibility, sure. Financial stability, probably.
Which then maybe gave him the freedom for stage and selective film work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It allows him to prioritize those other platforms when the right project comes along.
Okay, let's pivot now to the big screen, film. For a lot of actors, that's the ultimate goal, right? Hollywood. But for Hirsch, it feels like his film choices were, I don't know, more targeted. Strategic?
Highly strategic seems right. Used either for major critical impact or later on for real commercial reach. And that first big critical impact came surprisingly early in his screen career.
Ordinary People.
Ordinary People, 1980. Robert Redford's directing debut. Heavy stuff, family tragedy, grief. And Hirsch plays Dr. Tyrone C. Berger, the psychiatrist.
Such a key role in that film. So empathetic.
Absolutely central. And the film itself, massive critical hit. Wins Best Picture.
And for Hirsch, Oscar nomination. First one?
First Academy Award nomination, Best Supporting Actor, plus a Golden Globe nomination for the same role.
Okay, think about that timing again. 1980. He is smack in the middle of Taxi Mania. Huge TV comedy star.
Right, riding that wave.
And yet he delivers this incredibly grounded, sensitive performance in a major, serious drama, and boom, instant recognition from the Academy as a serious film actor.
It's remarkable. He wasn't just dabbling. He was excelling at the highest level in completely different genres on different platforms, basically at the same time.
That must have opened a lot of film doors in the 80s.
It did. The sources mention a string of interesting roles. Without a Trace in 83, Teachers in 84, he worked with Sidney Lumet on Running on Empty in 88. Great film.
With River Phoenix, yeah.
Often playing these intelligent characters, authority figures sometimes, choosing roles with substance.
But then came the shift towards blowing things up. Independence Day.
Huh. Yeah, then came The Aliens.
Yeah.
Independence Day, 1996. Playing Julius Levinson, Jeff Goldblum's quirky dad.
David's dad. You didn't call, you didn't write.
Exactly. And that role, pure fun, right? But
it.
strategically brilliant. It made his face instantly recognizable to a massive global audience, a whole new generation who maybe never saw Taxi.
Cemented him in pop culture. Just a huge commercial hit.
Massive. And he showed loyalty to it, too, coming back 20 years later for the sequel, Independence Day. Resurgence in 2016.
Wow. 20 years for that, too.
Yeah. But he kept balancing the blockbusters with prestige stuff. like appearing in A Beautiful Mind. Ron Howard film won Best Picture in 2001.
Right, he played Dr. Hellinger.
And got a Screen Actors Guild nomination for Best Cast for that. So, staying involved in award-worthy films.
And he kept working with really interesting contemporary filmmakers too, right? Even well into his 70s and 80s, staying relevant.
Incredibly relevant. Worked with Noah Baumbach on the Meyerowitz stories in 2017, and then the Safdie brothers.
Uncut Gems, he played Gooey. What a stressful movie.
Intense. But these later supporting roles, they aren't just jobs. They feel like strategic choices, placing himself alongside the cutting edge of modern cinema, keeping his name in the conversation.
But the biggest thing recently, the thing that just blows my mind in terms of longevity, is that return to the Oscars in 2022.
Ah, yes. The Fabelmans. This is where the story becomes truly legendary.
Playing Boris Podgorny, the great uncle, in Spielberg's very personal film.
And that performance nets him his second nomination for Best Supporting Actor.
Okay, put this record in perspective for us.
Right. So, first off, he's 87 years old when he gets this nomination.
Oh.
That makes him the second oldest acting nominee in Oscar history, ever.
Just incredible, sustained talent right there.
Monumental. But the record he broke, it's just staggering. It's the longest gap between Oscar nominations for any actor.
How long?
42 years. 42 years. Between Ordinary People in 1980 and The Fabelmans in 2022.
42 years. That is, I mean, unbelievable. Does the source material offer any insight? Like, how do you stay relevant and working at that level for 4 decades in Hollywood? Was it just luck? Spielberg remembered him?
Well, luck probably gets your foot in the door for an audition, maybe. But 42 years of consistent, disciplined work across stage, TV, and film, that's what makes you ready when Spielberg calls.
So it wasn't luck. It was preparation meeting opportunity.
That's what the sources imply. Spielberg was making this deeply personal film. He needed someone with real gravitas, proven depth. Hirsch wasn't just a celebrity. He was an actor with that undeniable structured integrity we keep coming back to.
And the nomination wasn't just a legacy nod either. He got other recognition for it, right?
Oh, yeah. He won an AARP Movies for Grown-Ups Award for Best Supporting Actor. Got nominated by the Critics' Choice, Screen Actors Guild for the cast. The recognition was widespread. It was a genuinely acclaimed performance.
And he's still going, still making movies.
Still going strong. Sources mention upcoming films, Rally Caps in 2024, then Fantasy Life and Stay Forte slated for 2025, maintaining that critical relevance, that commercial viability for over half a century. It really is a career strategy worth studying. So before we kind of wrap this all up and synthesize the big picture, it's probably worth just briefly touching on his personal life, which ran in parallel to all this professional activity over those same decades.
Right. Just for context, he was married first to Elisa Sedon, 1963 to 67. They had a son, Alex. Then his second marriage to Bonnie Sue Chalkin, a fashion designer. That was 92 to 2005. And from that marriage, a daughter, Montana, and another son, London. And he's currently married to his third wife, actress Catherine Danielle Hirsch. They married in 2020. So, you know, personal changes happening alongside all these professional shifts and successes.
Yeah, life happens alongside the career. But if we pull back now and look at the hard data, the awards, the accolades, this is where the main takeaway about his career just becomes crystal clear. Judd Hirsch's career basically laughs in the face of categorization.
It really does defy the usual boxes, doesn't it? That's the analytical paradox here. He's a master of different genres, excelling at opposite ends of the spectrum.
Exactly. Think about it. He won 2 Emmys and a Golden Globe, all for comedy or dramedy series. Taxi, Dear John. That's where his big TV awards came from.
Right. Recognized for being funny, for landing those comedic moments.
His major awards for stage and film, the 2 Tonys, the 2 Oscar nominations, all came from intensely dramatic, serious roles. I'm Not Rappaport, Conversations with My Father, Ordinary People, The Fabelmans.
That is wild. Comedy wins on TV, drama wins on stage and film.
That dual excellence, achieving the absolute peak in both. That is incredibly rare. Most actors get pigeonholed, right? The comedian struggles to be taken seriously in drama, or the serious dramatic actor seems stiff in a comedy.
But he just moved between them seamlessly.
Seamlessly. Not just between stage, film, and TV, but between lightness and darkness, levity and seriousness, often in the same year. And maintaining that versatility across 7 decades.
It has to come back to that foundation, doesn't it? That structure.
I think so. That structured approach to performance he maybe learned or at least honed through that physics background.
Taking the analytical precision of science and applying it to the messiness of human behavior.
Yeah. Creating performances that felt both emotionally true and logically sound, which allowed him to pivot between genres, between platforms, without ever seeming lost or out of his depth.
So just to nail down the final tally, the scope of his success, the nuggets.
The nuggets. Okay. 2 Tony Awards for Best Actor in a Play Mastery of the Stage, 2 Primetime Emmy Awards, and 1 Golden Globe Award sustained excellence in television comedy, and 2 Academy Award nominations for Best Supporting Actor, including that record-breaking gap, proving cinematic longevity and impact.
That list, it's just undeniable proof. Unparalleled multi-platform artistry. Hashtag tag outro.
Wow. Okay, so this deep dive into Judd Hirsch's career, it really does reveal this powerful lesson, I think. Something that goes way beyond just acting or Hollywood glamour. The key takeaway feels like the strategic power of having some kind of rigorous foundational discipline, something maybe even unrelated to your main goal. In his case, that analytical background from physics and engineering.
Absolutely. That foundation gave him this disciplined, structured, focused way of working. And that's what let him slip so easily between these incredibly different genres, different production styles, different demands.
He wasn't just winging it, relying on emotion alone. No, he relied on structured preparation, methodical work. And that's what kept his career so vibrant, so critically acclaimed, so, well, fresh. Right into his 80s and 90s. Still winning awards, still relevant.
So if you're listening out there, maybe you're thinking about a big change yourself, a professional pivot, maybe from something technical to something creative, or the other way around. Think about the skills you already have. The discipline skills from your current field, even if they seem totally unrelated to where you want to go next, how could they be repurposed?
Right. Because if a background in physics and engineering could somehow be the secret sauce, the structural key for Judd Hirsch to become one of the most respected actors across stage, film, and TV.
And we have to ask,
what seemingly unconnected skill, what discipline or training that you have might be the hidden key to unlocking your next big professional adventure?
Something to chew on. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.